Good afternoon, my dear students. Today I am going to teach you carbon and its compounds. You know, carbon is a nanometallic element. It has its symbol C. Its atomic number is 6 and atomic mass is 12. What is the electronic configuration of carbon? That is C, 2 and 4. You know, there are 4 electrons in the valence shell of carbon. So carbon can form a compound which will show its valency 4. Tetravalency, it is known as tetravalency of carbon. But what type of valency carbon exhibit? In the earlier or the previous class we have studied about the electrovalent bond and the ionic compounds. Carbon forms most of the compounds or almost all compounds a covalent compound. You know what do you mean by covalent bonds? The chemical bond formed by the sharing of electrons between the atoms is known as covalent compounds or covalent bonds. The compounds in which the different atoms are linked together in a covalent manner means when the atoms are bonded together with uh, each other by the mutual sharing of one or more electrons, then the compound will be covalent compounds and the bond is known as covalent bonds. Now let us first try to understand what is the special feature of carbon. You know, carbon compounds are commonly known as organic compounds. The organic compounds means the compounds which were initially derived from the body of the organism. That is why organic compounds are also known as carbon compounds. When the analysis of different organic compounds have been done, it was found that all the carbon compounds contains an essential element that is carbon. So, carbon is the key element of organic compound. Previously, it was suggested that organic compounds cannot be derived from the other substances except the natural substances, or it cannot be synthesized in the laboratory, and due to this inaccessibility of the formation of organic compounds, Berzelius proposed a theory known as vital force theory. According to the vital force theory, no compounds or the organic compounds can be synthesized in the laboratory, or not any such compounds have ever been synthesized prior to 1828. So, the inability of a human being to synthesize organic compounds such as alkaloids or acids like acetic acid, malic acid, lactic acid, tartaric acid, as well as other acids that are found in the citrus fruits, as well as various other compounds like methane, ethane, that is found in the natural substances. So prior to 1828, it had not become possible to synthesize either protein, carbohydrates, fats, and other organic compounds like even glucose or sugar. So, on the basis of inability of a human being to synthesize such compounds in the laboratory artificially or with other synthetic methods, Berzelius proposed the vital force theory. But you know, the disciple of Berzelius, that is W.H. Holler, who synthesized the first organic compound, that is urea, in the laboratory in 1828. So, you should know, urea was the first organic compound ever synthesized in the laboratory, and the scientist who performed this experiment was W.H. Euler, that is the disciple of Berzelius. After the discovery of or after the synthesis of this new methods of synthesizing organic compounds, that is urea, various scientists have uh, shown their interest in this direction, and within a short period of time, many such organic compounds have been synthesized in the laboratory, and after few years, the vital force theory would have been discarded. So, after the synthesis of such organic compounds, so many organic compounds have been synthesized, and after a few years or even the decades, the number of organic compounds becomes so large that it became essential to study all these compounds as a separate branch. Initially, organic and inorganic compounds were studied in the same uh, sort of the chemical studies. But when the number of organic compounds become too large to study compressively, extensively, and that is why they have been separated from each other. So, inorganic compounds and organic compounds were are studied separately, and they constitute different branch of chemistry, that is inorganic chemistry and the organic chemistry. Nowadays, we study among the inorganic compounds, that is compounds of carbon. So, now we should define organic compounds as the compounds having the compounds of carbon, essential element, that is carbon. So all those compounds which have an essential element carbon means the compounds of carbon other than the oxides, carbonates, bicarbonates, and cyanates. All these compounds are also the compounds of carbon, but the oxides of carbon, just like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbonates, various types of metallic carbonates, they all contain carbon, but these carbonates are studied in under the branch of chemistry, that is inorganic chemistry, and such compounds are called inorganic compounds. That is why if we have to define organic compounds, we have to remove these compounds from this definition, that is the compounds of carbon except the oxides, carbonates, and bicarbonates are considered as the organic compounds. Now, just I have told you that an essential element carbon is there in almost all organic compounds. Now, question here arises that so many elements get together are not able to form such a large compounds as the carbon and few other elements only. So, what is the special with carbon which enables it to form such a huge amount of organic compounds? There must be something behind this. What is the quality of carbon? You know, just I have told you the electronic configuration of this carbon is 2 4. Means what? The first shell of the carbon atom contains only 2 electrons, and the second shell means outermost shell contains 4 electrons. And you know the number of electrons present in the valence shell is called valence electrons. And if all the valence electrons get participated in bond formation, then the number of electrons present in the valence shell constitute the valency of the element. But in case the number of electrons is more than 4, what will happen? The common valency of the elements is equal to 8 minus number of valence electrons. Suppose that number of electrons present in the valence shell is 5, then what will be the common valency of this element? 8 minus 5 means what? 3. Just like nitrogen, phosphorus, all these elements have 5 electrons in the valence shell. So its common valency 8 minus 5 means 3. You know the compounds of nitrogen and hydrogen is NH3. So NH3, in NH3, PH3, the valency of nitrogen and phosphorus are 3. Let us come to elements of 16th group of the periodic table, that is oxygen, sulfur, selenium and so. There are 6 electrons in the valence shell, so the common valency would be 8 minus 6, that is 2. That is why the valency of oxygen is 2. You know the very common compound H2O, in which one oxygen atom is bonded with 2 hydrogen atoms, and you know the valency of hydrogen is 1. So one oxygen can hold 2 hydrogen atoms, and that is why the valency of oxygen is 2. In the same way, H2S hydrogen sulfide. Here sulfur also have 6 electrons in the valence shell. Sulfur atoms also have 6 electrons in the valence shell. So what will be the normal valency? That is 8 minus 6 equal to 2, and so on. So is the case with the elements present in the 17th group, that is chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. So suppose let us consider chlorine. There are 7 electrons in the valence shell, 2, 8, 7. So if the number of valence electrons is 7 in case of chlorine, so what will be the common valency of this chlorine? That is 8 minus 7 equal to 1. That is why you can observe the valency of chlorine in different compounds like HCl, NaCl, KCl and so on. MgCl2, here valency of magnesium is 2, but the chlorine valency of chlorine is 1. So if there are 7 electrons in the valence shell, its common valency will be 1. Now let us come to carbon again here. So carbon has 4 electrons in the valence shell. So what will be this common valency of carbon? It will be 4. Or now you may ask that can carbon atom form electrovalent compounds? Let us try to find out this, whether carbon is able to form electrovalent compound or not. If we try to have a concept of any compound by the use of carbon, what should have to perform this carbon atom? Either it has to accept 4 electrons or to lose 4 electrons. Suppose this 4 electron, it has to be removed from its valence shell. What will happen? You have to supply such a huge amount of a huge amount of energy to remove the 4 electrons from its valence shell. You know that amount of energy required to remove the one of the electrons from the valence shell in its gaseous isolated neutral atom. It is called ionization energy, ionization potential, or the atomization energy. So electron has to be removed, and this cannot be removed as per our desire. It needs energy, and such a huge amount of energy to remove all the 4 electrons from its valence shell is not possible, because such a large amount of energy cannot be provided during the chemical reaction. So the formation of C4 plus means tetra positive carbon ion is not possible. Now let us try to form tetra negative ion by accepting 4 electrons. This may also be not possible. It is also not possible. Why? Because in order to accept or in order to add 4 electrons in the valence shell, it also needs energy. You know or already know that there are 4 electrons in the valence shell. If we try to add one more electron in this valence shell, the electron being introduced into the valence shell has to experience such a large repulsive forces that in order to introduce or penetrate the electron in the same cell, much more energy is required. We know the atom has a need of electrons to achieve the inert gas configuration, nearest inert gas configuration of neon. But let us introduce one more electron. What will happen? It has to introduce the electron against the one extra negative charge which has been acquired by adding one electron previously. So as we introduce more and more electrons one by one, the latter electrons will have to experience much more repulsive forces. So ultimately, the 4th electrons cannot be introduced into the atom. And suppose if we introduce all these 4 electrons into the valence shell, then the another problem will arise here. How? Suppose 4 electrons are added into the valence shell of carbon atom, what would happen? The number of electrons in the atom will be 10. But what is the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom? Only 6. So in this case, suppose that if 4 electrons are introduced in the valence shell, what will happen to the atom? 6 protons has to hold 10 electrons. So it is not further possible for this atom to hold 10 electrons by 6 protons. So in both of the situation, neither tetra positive carbon ion is possible nor tetra negative carbide ion is possible. So what will be the other alternative of this? This will be discussed in next video. Thank you. Thank you very much.